As Turkey winds down rescue operations, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken pledges $100 million 2 weeks after the devastating earthquake.
Several thousand supporters of a pro-Russia party marched in Moldova on Sunday, demanding help with the cost of living crisis.
As the war in Ukraine reaches its one-year mark, the ongoing conflict takes its toll on the population's mental health.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has announced $100 million in fresh humanitarian aid to the victims of last week's earthquakes. Washington's top diplomat arrived for his first visit to Turkey on Sunday and met his Turkish counterpart, Mevlut Cavusoglu. They later viewed the damage brought by the disaster in the Hatay province from a helicopter.
I just had a chance to fly over Hatay to see some of the devastation, and it's really hard to put it into words. You see buildings still standing, and then buildings collapse, roofs destroyed, and right next to it, something that's still standing.
Blinken is in Turkey for talks meant to focus on NATO expansion and other thorny issues, but the devastating earthquake has clouded the visit. The 7.8 magnitude quakes, which hit Turkey and northern Syria on February 6th, have killed more than 45,000 people. The likelihood of finding survivors 2 weeks on, extremely unlikely. No survivors have been found in at least 24 hours. In Syria, the devastation brought by the quakes has been compounded by the delay in humanitarian aid. Syria's civil defense, also known as the White Helmets, has been at the forefront of digging through rubble, but their rescue efforts have now turned into cleanup operations.
Several thousand protesters rallied in Moldova's capital on Sunday amid a cost of living crisis and skyrocketing inflation. The call was for the country's new pro-Western government to cover citizens' winter heating bills. The protest was organised by a recently formed group, Movement for the People, and supported by members of Moldova's Russia-friendly Shore Party, which holds 6 seats in the former Soviet Republic's 101-seat legislature. Some of the demonstrators called for the country's president, Maia Sandu, to stand down. Others held placards with the faces of some of Moldova's leaders and politicians placed next to photographs of large homes and fancy cars.
Sate, fără de zarplată, fără de lucru, fără de nic, cum să trăim noi mai departe? Și țările se ridică, cu și noi, suntem vopșe, cu tățul, dar suntem bomși. Mai mult pentru pensie. Să ne ajungă și nouă. Ne-au spus că ne mărește, și ne mărește.
A week ago, President Sandu outlined what she claimed was an alleged plot by Moscow to overthrow the government in order to put the nation at the disposal of Russia and to derail it from its course to one day join the European Union. Russia strongly denies her claims.
As Russia's war in Ukraine reaches its one-year mark, the conflict is taking its toll on the population's mental health. The ongoing fighting, destruction and struggle for survival has left Ukrainians mentally exhausted. According to the Ukrainian government, more than 60% of its soldiers are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and about half the population is in need of psychological help.
If I would meet you 6 months ago, I will not tell you anything, because we're still learning. A few months ago, I started to understand that people should know that somebody is going to help them.
But the mental health system is taking strain, with the government saying it can only care for 1/3 of the people who need support.
Там померли рідні, там померли сусіди, там пішов твій друг в армію.
Не знаєш, да, з 11 листопада деокупація пройшла, але там щодня.
Є емоційне виснаження в цьому плані, що хочеться скоріше перемоги. Хочеться скоріше перемоги, знищення цього терористичного режиму.
As the war drags on, it's hoped that more people can be helped to deal with their mental health issues.
Over the last year, more than 9.5 million Ukrainians arrived in Poland. Nearly 8 million of them have returned. Ukrainians have opened almost 20,000 companies in Poland, as well as taking other initiatives, such as creating Ukrainian schools.
Діти вимушені навчатися в будь-яких інших школах, або в своїх українських школах онлайн, або ходити до польських шкіл. Просто в польських школах немає стільки місць.
А хто в нас розголошує інформацію?
Mark is a student at a Ukrainian school in Warsaw. He's happy studying in Ukrainian. It's also a good option for those without precise plans.
Польський ліцей, або ще далі кудись, бо я активно вивчаю англійську мову. Якщо повезе, то до Англії також є бажання. Але поки в Польщі на 1 рік, можемо навіть в Україну. Тож з цим плани міняються кожен день.
Знаєте, у мене є таке почуття вдячності. Я приїхала сюди до Польщі, і мене прийняла родина до себе, і вони прийняли мене в свою родину. Люди, яких я взагалі не знала. І ми розуміємо, що нам ніхто нічого не винен, ми повинні для себе заробляти самі. Тому ми працюємо. Ми розуміємо, що наші діти – це наше майбутнє.
Experts warn that, despite the success of the humanitarian response, many Ukrainians will still need our help.
Migrants are more or less adapted, right? But now there is an issue of their access to labor market, massive problem of apartments. This is the time that we need to think of more long-term strategy.
The war in Ukraine has resulted in the largest refugee migration in Europe since World War II and is a big challenge for neighboring countries. There are still about 1.5 million Ukrainians in Poland alone. Most of them have not made long-term plans, and although many of them will stay in the country, most of them would like to return home as soon as possible. Magdalena Hodownik for Euronews from Warsaw.
Nuclear tension soars on the Korean peninsula after the launch of 2 new missiles by North Korea. According to North Korea's state broadcaster, the missiles can be used in a tactical nuclear attack that could completely destroy enemy air bases. It is the second launch carried out by the North Korean regime since Saturday, and according to Pyongyang, it is in retaliation to the joint military maneuvers being carried out by South Korea and the United States. Seoul and Tokyo have voiced their anger over what happened. The Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has called for an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council. Secretary General Antonio Guterres has strongly condemned the North Korean regime's launch and called on Pyongyang to immediately desist from taking any further provocative actions.
Heavy rain in northern Romania has caused flooding and landslides, damaging many roads. Among the worst-hit stretches of road is between Rodna and Magura-Ilve. It's only 2 years since this section was rebuilt with €2 million worth of European funds. And motorists aren't the only one inconvenienced. Some rail services are also disrupted. Rivers have also burst their banks, flooding homes and farmland.
At least 19 people have died in Brazil amid floods and landslides. It's thought this number could still rise. The cities of São Sebastião and Bertioga, 2 of the hardest hit, cancelled their Carnival festivities as rescue teams struggled to find missing people, those feared dead in the rubble. In Sao Paulo, the rainfall surpassed 600 millimetres in one day, one of the highest amounts ever recorded in Brazil in such a short period. The local governor has issued a public calamity decree.
German-language film All Quiet on the Western Front has dominated the British Academy Film Awards. The anti-war drama took a record-breaking 7 awards, including Best Film and Best Director. Meanwhile, Cate Blanchett was named Best Actress for her role in Tar, in which she plays a renowned orchestra conductor whose career unravels when she's accused of abuse. The BAFTAs are widely seen as predictive of the Oscars, which take place next month in Hollywood.
Partly destroyed by the fire in April 2019, the famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is currently being restored. And an exhibition at the capital's Cité de l'Architecture et du Patrimoine in Paris offers a unique opportunity to discover 16 of the statues saved from the flames. The exhibition runs until next April, when the statues will again be on display on the walls of the cathedral. To celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Lucien Freud, Madrid's Museo Nacional Thyssen-Bornemisza has gathered together a retrospective of some 50 works by the British painter. From the beginning of his career, Freud favoured figurative art, concentrating on representations of the human form. The exhibition Lucien Freud New Perspectives can be seen in Madrid until the 18th of June. Refik Anadol, born in 1985 in Turkey, is one of the world's leading digital artists. An exhibition of his work displaying images generated solely by artificial intelligence is underway at the Aachen Museum in Denmark. Nature Dreams is the main work on display. The huge 7 by 7 metre sculpture is made from millions of pictures of nature. The exhibition runs until the 27th of